Oh, wait for that live. We are live. We are alive.
We are
I'm
live.
alive and I'm not live, but I'm live and alive. There you go. Hi, guys.
Hi, welcome to the Fox Den. This week we have a pretty interesting show. The woman that wrote this book, Into the Heart of the Infinite, this is her memoir. This is her life. She got it all in like 300 pages, which astounds me still because of how much she's done. Wow. Just wow.
Wow.
The people she's met, the things she's done, the places she's gone, the life she lives. It's something. Definitely not an ordinary life. She's written a ton of books. These are a lot of her books. So, Maetreyii.org/books -to -by. You can go there or on Amazon. And let me play her bio video so you can learn a little bit more about her if you did not watch it while we had it up on our pages before the show. So we're going to play that, and then we're going to get her on here and ask her a bunch of questions about her incredible life. This week in the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, we welcome Maetreyii Ma. She is an award-winning author, psychologist, and spiritual teacher who has developed a worldwide following, bringing forth the deep wisdom that manifests to her both through her inner guru, Baba, and her teacher, the renowned Indian mystic Shri Shri Anandamurti Baba. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Baba that has loved and guided her throughout her long life is the all-knowing spiritual consciousness that embodies divine love and speaks to, and in recent years, through her. And while she met and lived in the ashram of the living guru, Shri Shri Anandamurti Baba, in India for 8 months before he passed from this earth, the immortal spiritual consciousness he embodied has been side by side with her since her college years, long before she met him and after. Her story, beautifully told in her new book, Into the Heart of the Infinite, a spiritual memoir of an extraordinary mystical journey, is the story of profound transformation that reveals how she came to experience the spiritual ecstasy and the beauty that her guide, Baba, brought to her while integrating it into her real-world life of wife, mother, psychologist, and spiritual teacher, to live a life in awakened, joyful consciousness. With roles as past founder and president of the Ananda Seva Mission and founding board member of the Kundalini Research Network and previous director of the Spiritual Emergency Network, she has long been a guiding light in the spiritual community, and we welcome you, Maetreyii, and everyone to the Fox Den.
Who like that?
I tried really hard with those names. I know I did
You
not.
did a great job.
Thank you.
It's not easy.
I really did try. But honestly, people, this book is not what I thought. You know, when I first got this book and I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the artwork, which is beautiful too, on the cover, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, I'm going to be looking up every other word because I'm not going to understand this. And it's so not that. It is just her life. It is her life in her words. You go on this journey with her. I can't believe you can remember all this stuff, but I can't on mine. But it is just incredible. And then the words that you don't have to like use your phone or a dictionary or whatever. So the words that are in Sanskrit or the words that are that you might not know are in the back. Okay, there's a little glossary in the back there. So this is all you need. Okay, and it's amazing. It's just so cool. And thank you for being here. Your life was incredible.
Oh, thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you. I'm just delighted to be here.
Awesome.
We're
So now
pleased-
you as a child, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mama.
I said we're pleased to have you here.
Yeah, definitely. But now you as a child, when did this start for you?
Oh, my goodness. I think it started with my connection with nature. We moved to a small, like 5.5 acre farm when I was little. And I had a really deep connection with animals and with trees. And just spent a lot of time in nature. And I think that was the beginning of my connection to spirit. And then when I was about 10 or 11, I began to feel this divine presence near me. And there was no guidance, there were no words. It was just a sense of a presence. And I felt like I knew this presence from the past, a holy presence. The only thing that was like that presence that I'd ever heard of, I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and was Christ. And so I thought, well, maybe it's Christ, but I didn't know because there was no
Words. Right?
no words. Yeah. But then as I look back, I think it was probably the same Baba who has been with me all along. But it was a very holy presence. And I felt like I'd been with this being, this presence before, even though I didn't, know anything about reincarnation or anything, so it wasn't rational in terms of my framework, but kids aren't rational, right?
No. And did you think you were going crazy? Like, did you think this was not normal? Like,
no, I didn't.
No one else felt these things.
That happened later. But when I was a kid,
You just didn't know any different.
Yeah, it was a very comforting presence. And I fell just immensely in love with this presence. I think it's such a beautiful, holy presence that sort of is there. And there was a soothing energy that came and calmed my mind. I think anyone would fall in love. And so I fell in love with that as a kid. But then as I grew older, it into my teens, I extroverted into the world, and my childhood experiences began to fade, and,
Right.
it out there.
Typical teenager. Yeah. Just out living your life, and, and school and boys and whatnot.
Boys, dating and
Yeah.
all the exciting things of the teenage years.
Right. And you were a hippie girl too, right? At one point.
Yes. When I was a teenager, after a while, I became a beatnik. It was just the tail end of the beatniks, and so I became, my boyfriend played the banjo, and we opened a coffee house in his basement, and we went to the Hungry Eye in Chicago and Old Town, and we would, he would play the banjo and stuff. So, and I would wear all black and iron my long hair that came down to my waist.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, because it was too curly. It should be straight.
I get you. I understand you there.
Yeah, life is always greener on the other side. I would love the curls. Yeah.
And then I moved down to being a hippie as I went into my college years.
Yeah. Now you were a hippie though too, like I'd say like the 70s ish, right? Like everyone was into transcendental meditation, and that was a quite the time. That's
Kent State. I was also in SDS and politically active, and it was the time of Kent State and all of this turmoil. And I was in Southern Illinois at SIU, Southern Illinois University, but there were riots there, like there were riots at every school, and it was a very turbulent.
It was a pivot point in spirituality and everything at that point.
Yeah. It was a time of expansion of consciousness, of feeling like a new generation is here, and this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius and all of that stuff.
And now we're actually in Aquarius. But that was leading up to it. I just really feel like everything that you did, your cronies, everyone at that time, the people at the ashrams, all the people that you've met, were all getting us to this point now. Now we need to carry that torch forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of transformation that happened between like my parents' generation and the 50s, and the psychology of the materialism that dominated the society at that time, and there did seem to be a generation gap, that there was some sort of difference, and then a whole generation of people came who valued consciousness,
right,
and love more than material.
war and this and materialism and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like but even just going through high school, my grade was the last one that was like that, and the grade under me and everyone else was all materialistic and the entitled group.
Oh,
You know,
really? Yeah, it did shift, didn't it? It
yeah,
shifted.
big, huge. You know, we're just so not the same. You know,
Yeah.
not at all. But hopefully, you know, we will circle the people back into, you know, journeys like this. Oh my gosh. I mean, are there still like active ashrams
Oh, yeah,
you can go to?
all over the world, and we have our place, we call it an ashram here in Santa Rosa, our place. It's not a big, huge ashram like in India or, you know, some of them around the United States also. It's just our little place, and 12 people live here, and we have a spiritual community. So, yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to join an ashram, what would I do?
Well, each ashram, each spiritual community is different. And for example, there's Mount Madonna, which is down in Watsonville, and they have like 300 acres and big retreat centers and so on. And they have programs that you can apply to and become a work study and live there and work at the center there. Or you can take a course and live there for a week or two while you're in your course. Each place is different. There's many different places, and some are large and some are small. Ours is more closed living community, but the big communities have a lot of programs that you can go and take a summer and be a work study. You know, I think it's a great thing to do.
I think so.
How did you start your ashram?
Well, the ashram itself is just, we bought this place in 2000 because we needed a place for a training center, really. And so we're on 3¼ acres, and we have cabins and things. And so we needed a place to house 20 trainees who would come and live here for yoga teacher training, yoga therapy training. And so we had yoga teacher training, yoga therapy training, and acharya training, which is training spiritual meditation teachers in our tradition. And so we needed someplace to do these trainings. And so we bought this place to have trainings. It was our home, but it was also a training center.
Mm-hmm.
We did trainings from 2003 to 2014. And we, for a lot of that period, a third of the year we were in training, you know, so which is a really lot of time to be in these 12-hour-a-day sessions with live-in people. Yeah, but it was wonderful. So it was a training center. And when we stopped being a training center, we went, well, let's invite people to live here as an ashram, as a spiritual people who are dedicated to meditation and yoga and want to live with other people who have the same values. And it's free.
So now I want to, that's amazing, but I want to back up. Okay, I want to back up. So now let's go back to when you were your teens and or college years and whatever. And now this presence is still with you, very prevalent with you, right?
Yes.
And still guiding you. How were you guided to the actual real Baba? How did that come to play? That you went to India to meet him and to stay there?
I had my I began meditation. Well, first of all, I did the psychedelic thing, like a lot of people.
Oh yeah. This is what I'm talking about, people.
Psychedelic.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. LSD plays a part in some of this stuff.
I did,
Yeah.
and I had some profound mystical experiences on LSD, which I go into in the book. And that really sort of opened me back up to that divine presence that I felt as a child, except in the more universal cosmic whole of being. And it brought me down into deeper states of consciousness, and I just, found my heart again. And then, but that after a while, I crashed and burned with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to, it was, but then, and then I wanted to, then I still wanted to have these mystical states. That's all I wanted, and so I started, I wanted to learn meditation. So I went up to the Theosophical Society with my husband at the time, and I got a book on meditation. I was in Southern Illinois University, so we were like out in the middle of nowhere, right? And it says, well, don't meditate without a guru. And I went, great. Where do I get a guru in the middle of a cornfield?
I know. This is it. I'm telling you, the book is great. The book is great. Go ahead.
So I read this book, and then after a while I said, well, I really want to meditate anyway. But then just before I could start meditating, two meditation teachers came to town. And one was a TM meditation teacher, and the other was this Indian Swami in orange robes, and who was in an order from my guru. But I didn't know anything about the guru. All I know is this orange robed guy, he called himself Dadaji, was in town, and he looked like the real deal, So I took Diksha, which is learning to meditate in the yogic tradition, and I.
Did you transcribe to LSD when you began your meditation journey? What do you mean transcribe?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means, Anthony. But she did that. That was
I was past the LSD thing. That was finished and done when I started the meditation. And I really felt that the LSD, my problem that I got into with it is that I think it's a thing that opens doors, but it's not a way through. It's a look-see.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened that door, and then I had very, very deep experience. And then I had I knew that door was closed, and I couldn't get there that way any longer. But I didn't know that this was something that happened outside of LSD. And all I knew is that these states of consciousness was all that I wanted. And so I took LSD again. And then I had my very first bad trip, and that, because I wasn't meant to be taking it anymore. It had what it needed to do. And I knew that, but I didn't know what else to do. And so then, what did I know? And there was
back in those days, that's what we did all the time.
and so I crashed and burned with it because I had a couple of bad trips. And some fear energy came up, and anyway, it just went into a dark place. The dark place really was that I wanted that divine consciousness. I didn't want to be just stuck in a material life, to have 2.5 kids and in the suburbs,
and the White House, and
and so I it was hard because I didn't have any idea how you get to those states. I didn't even know that people outside of LSD had these states of consciousness. I was really not educated. And then I read the Bhagavad Gita, and I went, oh, wow, this happens to other people, and they didn't take LSD.
Didn't you asked before though, and you were told disregard what you're seeing, and it doesn't mean anything, and just let that go. And then it really was something.
yeah, I went to a professional psychiatrist, I think, to like talk about my anxiety that I had after that. And I got really bad advice. It really depressed me. It was terrible. So, but then I started, I took this course on Eastern religion, and that got me into seeing that these are states of consciousness that other people access and that these actually exist.
Right.
And that was really powerful for me. And then I got into meditation. So I'm still winding my way back to your question.
Yep. I know. It's all relevant.
So what happened with the meditation is that this Swami came to town. I learned meditation. I started doing meditation. Then I started having unusual experiences. And I went, oh God, nobody else is having experiences like this. I must be crazy. That's where the crazy part came in. And I went, oh no, this must be crazy. I'm weird. So I better stop meditating. So I stopped meditating. But then I really, all I wanted was to get in these divine connected states of consciousness. And it was kind of depressing without it. It was the vitality of life wasn't there, And so I began meditating again, and my meditations were really smooth and nothing unusual happened. And I'd come out and it was very peaceful. And this went on for months, and I was okay, nothing weird is happening. I'm meditating. It's nice, But then one day I came out of meditation and I realized that this voice had been speaking to me in meditation. This, again, like in my childhood, this holy presence, this divine, compassionate, incredibly loving, personal, divine manifestation was talking to me in my meditation. And then I realized it had been going on for months, and I had been forgetting it every time I came out of meditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, but how did you get to the ashram? How did you go to India?
Well, so I ended up having, as this presence came to me, and I accepted it, and I went through a series of mystical experiences that led me to finally my inner guru told me, now you must come to India and be with my physical form.
Right.
So then my husband and I bought one-way tickets to India on some.
What a journey. What a journey. Oh my God. I would have freaked out.
I'd never even been on a plane, and now I was just flying to India,
Wow.
on some weird Arab Airlines, and I'd never been on a plane.
Oh,
and it turned out it was a weird Arab Airlines that were old American planes that had been retired.
Right. Yeah, and then they buy them. Yes.
Hop from country to country, and then at one point, and nobody spoke English, and the even the stewardess didn't speak English. Nobody. So at one point, all of a sudden, the stewardess, and everyone's like, oh, and there's a Jesuit priest next to us, and he takes out his rosary and he starts doing his.
God. Oh my God.
What's going on? And I look out the window, and the engine is smoking. So we turned to the Jesuit priest, who had a few pidgin English words, and he said, engine on fire. And
Yikes. God.
Yeah.
But we ended up landing safely, and I made it to India, and to eventually to see my guru.
Yeah, and then even just getting through India too. You ride the bus with the 9 million people all on it and hanging off of it and everything to get there. It's just
you remember my descriptions of.
I remember everything. I really do, and it's just it's crazy. It's a crazy ride. Now you know who it is that's been talking to you is your inner guru, your inner Baba has been with you since you were a child. Okay, so now you're going to meet the physical Baba. Now, what was the benefit? What was the plus and what was the minus when you first got in to see him? Well,
when I first got in to see him, I was hit with, frankly, Indian sexism. We came in, I've got to see my guru. I was all excited, walked in with my husband, and they said he could sit down in the front. There was like a choki, which is like a platform bed. And then the men sat in front and the ladies had to sit over on the side in this L-shaped, and I went, what? That was the first. And then I sat on the side, and then I had the experience that everything that you'd never want to think in front of somebody who could read your mind, and you were
through your mind,
sort of drawn to the surface of my mind. And I went, I'm going crazy with this. It was an awful experience. And that went on for a week or two. And then I started feeling long
time no hear from Art. But hello, welcome to the show, guys. Share the show, all right? Because she's given us some really, really great information.
Yeah, so far so
yeah,
deep.
But so now she's at the ashram. She's finally meeting the Baba, the love of her life. Who like she just, it is like just this all-encompassing. Her dream come true, and she gets stuffed in a corner. I would be so upset.
Yes, I was upset.
No.
I wouldn't stand for it.
Shocked. Yeah. And so then, the pluses were that I felt after a while, I felt incredible bliss in the presence. And I did long hours of meditation while I was in India. And I felt incredible bliss and awakening of consciousness around the presence. And the vibration that I felt from the physical guru was really the same vibration I felt from the inner guru. So there was this like parallelism of vibration. But I have to say that I have never felt that Baba, my Baba, and the spirit was originated in the man in India. I felt that the man in India and my Baba are two expressions of this same cosmic existence,
So he's like infinite.
So it's not that there's this person who all this is. I just have never viewed it that way. I viewed that the person, the physical embodiment and the subtle embodiment that I experienced are both embodiments of divine source, and
and trying to guide you too while you're there, and guide you while you're being, pushed to the side as a woman.
Right.
All you want to do is just go meet him and talk to him and have a moment.
How long ago was this?
Oh, that was 1970. It was a long time.
Okay.
And that was authentic India, where when I went to India, there's no refrigeration, no radios, no televisions, no cell phones, no technology. It was authentic India before India changed.
Okay.
So Anthony has a very long question for you. Have you been able to do meditation sessions with George Lucas or any of the early Buddhist lay people that come out of Berkeley, California, or elsewhere? Though it is not yogi or Hinduism, I was just curious if you were all mixed in at one point in time while being at the crossroads of Indian spirituality and living philosophies. Good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Anthony.
George Lucas. I did know Ram Dass, and that whole crowd of people, and there was a sort of a spiritual yoga crowd.
Let me show you a few pictures here of some people that she's met and dealt with. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce these names. Tarthang Toku
Rinpoche, who's up here in the corner, and Swami Satchidananda, who's a beautiful. He had an ashram. He still has an ashram in San Francisco, and one on the East Coast that's much larger. And he was a beautiful, saintly.
They look like good souls.
Yogi, yeah. There was amazing. After I met Baba and I was in India and I came back into the United States, we had our kids. I got grounded in the world, sort of, but we kept going to all these different teachers, and that's when during that period is when I met all these different
Yes, because Baba was arrested, right? So he was taken away because the government didn't like what was happening.
Like Ananda Marga, and they didn't like. There was a whole political thing going on that I never quite understood. It was, foreign politics to me.
Yeah.
Well, they don't like someone else.
Politics to me is the same thing.
People
Well,
are
a little bit.
following him and not the government, so they don't like it. So what do? They lock you up. But then there's some more. So during that interim, when he was gone, so now again, these names are just
Right. And Kirpal Singh was, I talked about him in the book. He was a Sikh guru who came to the United States and saw, gave darshans here, gave talks here. And I felt a beautiful vibration around him. And he was somebody that I spent, time seeing. And Ananda Amachi, I think, is more recent person who I've seen in the last 20 years or 30 years. I've seen Amma since she first started coming here. And she's lovely. The hugging saint, they call her.
Oh, she looks it.
Well, I like her then.
Yeah, she loves the mama. Now you've got these two ladies too, Sister Palmo.
Yeah, well, Sister Palmo was the first Western, she's a British woman. She was the first Western Tibetan monk, woman to be a Tibetan monk.
And she wanted you to join her, right? Help her.
Yeah. And so we began going, she had a group in San Mateo, and we began attending regularly. And she wanted us to come and join that community. And we were sort of on our own, and Baba was not available. But we felt there's a deep connection to Baba. And so I just didn't feel free to do that,
Mm-hmm.
But she was a wonderful spiritual being. And we really enjoyed her teachings and on Tibetan Buddhism and her vibration. And then Anandamoy Ma, I never physically met, but she came to me internally. She's come to me internally a bunch of times. And she's somebody I feel a real resonance with. I just love her. Her story is amazing. She was still alive when I was first in India, and some of the people went to see her. I didn't get to go see her, and she was near. I wish I had. We're near where I was, but I've felt her vibration in my meditation a number of times, and she's such a beautiful, powerful saint. And she would go into these deep states of samadhi, these deep states of absorption for a week or two. And she was really known for just being in these divine states. And she was amazing. And she's one of the greatest saints of modern India. She had millions of followers. So
that's amazing. Okay, now what about these two gentlemen?
Ramana Maharshi is another one of the really great saints, and the founder really, not that he founded it, but out of his teachings have come the whole non-dual movement in America, where you have all the non-dual teachers, Rupert and Adyashanti and people like that. They also come out of Ramana's tradition. And Ramana is also someone, he was before my time. I never really met him, but I spent time, I felt him internally. He came to me a number of times and was a very healing, guiding force for me. And his energy is very beautiful. And he's the one who's given a lot of the teachings of self-inquiry. Who am I? That type of meditation. And he's famous for his self-inquiry meditation. He was a person who was just a kid when he left his home and went to live at Arunachala, which is this mountain, and spent his life there in very aesthetic. I guess that's the word, aesthetic. You know, he lived a very, very simple life, but he
Oh,
became one of the great saints of India.
that's awesome. And what about Haridas Baba?
Haridas Baba, I saw many, many times. He has a center in Watsonville, California. He left his body about 5-6 years ago, I think. Don't know exactly. But I would go there often and be around him, and I felt a beautiful vibration around him. And he started the Mount Madonna Center, which is in Watsonville. And that's the 300-acre ashram that I told you about earlier.
Oh, awesome. So that's an attainable thing, in the States for us. Now,
Yeah.
these two were kind of close when in the book for when Baba first left the ashram was taken away. But you met this Swami
Ananda. I met him when I came back to America, and I met him pretty early on. And then we went to see him for many, many years. And is that him? That doesn't look like him.
It's a younger version of him, but I looked at the pictures because like there are older pictures where the hair is cut and he looks older. Yeah. But when I was gathering the pictures, I liked this just because I liked the robes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
But, wow. And he had an ashram in Oakland. And then Guru Mai, it was his assistant, and she became a guru in his lineage, which is the Siddha Yoga. He's founded the Siddha Yoga Foundation.
Wow. And I put the peacock feather in there because you said
that's what he touched everyone. He gave Shaktipat by touching people with the peacock feather. Right. And he had a beautiful vibration. Later there were these rumors about him and women and stuff, but I saw him. I felt there was a beautiful vibration, and he was he was a teacher for a lot of people, and there were a lot of people following him. And I saw him from when he first came to the United States, and then for many years until close to his leaving his body.
Wow.
And then Guru Bawa I found he was this amazing guy. He has quite a backstory that these people were on a pilgrimage in southern India, and Guru Bawa was a Sufi guru, but they were on this pilgrimage, and this old man came up from behind some stones with the white beard and the white hair, and old guy, right? Except look at his face. His face looks, but he's really old. He's really old. Nobody knows his age. And when he spoke a language that none of them knew, so they taught him their language. And then
is he the one that knew 200 languages? Was he the one?
That's my guru.
That's okay.
Okay, Baba.
Okay,
but Guru Bawa, he had he could, when they began to ask him, who are you? Where did you come from? He just walked up from behind a rock, right? And he would just give the evolution of the universe. He seemed to have no sense of a personal self, and he was of an undetermined ancient age. And he was quite amazing and beautiful vibration, very hard.
And since I'm putting up the pictures, I will put up your Baba.
Yeah, this is my Baba. This is Sri Anandamurti Baba, who was my physical guru, who lived in India, and who I went to spend time with in 1970 and spent some time there. And I felt tremendous bliss around him and Shakti, and some things happened that were quite miraculous, which if you've read it, I think you read some of those stories. that, and those are from my personal experience or people I
Mhm.
directly talk to. Those are not just stories, because stories
Yeah.
revolve around these kind of beings.
This is a life experience. It's an amazing life experience. I mean, just to think of the people that you met, the places that you've been, the connection that you have is intense. And then it's like I just want to keep jumping ahead, and I don't want to do that yet. But I absolutely love what you have done through everything. Now, since I was showing all those pictures, there's been a lot of stuff going on over here. Anna's saying hello. What's this diamond thing we're talking about over here? I have no
A
idea.
translation for the word that
This
Anthony
word?
put up before. Yeah, that's a translation. Several translations means the diamond.
Vajrayana.
The diamond, simple translation.
Yeah.
Diamond. Okay. And hello, Carmen. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Thank you for popping in. Share if you can.
Yep.
We're talking about a lot of really cool stuff here.
Really very interesting things. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So when you were in India, right, and he was first taken away, what did you think? What was everybody doing at that point?
There was a time when Baba was there, and then there was this like song and dance going on about the Indian government at that time, which they actually, Ananda Marga was one of, I think, 5 or 6 organizations that got banned. And actually the Indian government had to pay reparations afterwards to people who they put in prison because they were these banned organizations.
I didn't understand it.
Politics, I don't get it. But anyway, Baba had a neo-humanism, which is that all living beings should be treated with honor and respect.
Yes.
And seen as part of the whole.
Yes.
And then a social philosophy, progressive utilization theory, which I guess was a threat to the Communist Party. I don't know. But anyway, Prout had basically, it's focused on local economy and global kind of government with local economy. And it was sort of a political economic approach. And so he had these philosophies which were, went beyond the spiritual to the sort of application of that in society. And so I think that was a stimulus for a lot that went on.
Okay.
That created, Aurobindo also had turbulence around that type of thing. So,
but were you expecting him to be back soon? Like, were you saying, "Oh, he's just going to be detained and come back, and everyone hang around"?
Well, the first time he was gone a few weeks, and then he was back.
Right.
That's when, if you read the story about when he came. He was going to come back. We didn't know he was going to come back. And then we just got word suddenly. So we decided to do this 24-hour kirtan on the porch, just chanting and dancing kirtan. And then everybody had, just a few of us had stayed, and all the Westerners had like gone off to the winds. And some were doing relief work in Bangladesh, and others were doing other things. And then within that afternoon, everybody except for 2 people came back, like 20, 30 people came back within a matter of 4 or 5 hours while we were doing kirtan. And none of them had heard that Baba was coming out and that Baba he was in the hospital, that he would come back and that he would be there. None of them had heard that. Nothing special happened in any of their lives, but they all showed up at the same time, which is
no coincidences.
Yeah, I think it's statistically beyond normal, and they go, "Oh, our work in Bangladesh just happened to finish, so we came here. Our flight to something or other just, everything was happened to just happen."
All dominoes fell into place.
so it was more like a convergence of energy rather than anybody having this miraculous story that some big miraculous thing happened and they were called back. No, that's not what happened. But it was like I felt that Baba's sort of spirit was woven into the fabric of what was, and it just went with the natural flow. But the natural flow converged in such a way that is not usual. So all these people to show up at once, but it happened. And then he gave darshan the next day. He talked the next day. So that was a bunch of things happened like that. When
miraculous, really. I mean, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it's really, I love how you tell the story too, right? And you truly do.
Yeah.
Then when he got taken away again, how long did you stay there before you went back?
He got taken away in December, and it was hard. And I stayed hoping that we could see him. We ended up, I think you probably read about, we ended up going to this small town in India where they had never seen any Westerners. This was a time before a lot of things had happened. And, 100 people swamped our rickshaw and tried to climb on it and all sorts of stuff because they'd never seen people like us.
Right.
And we were there to try to see Baba, where they had him in a Bankipur jail. But this was just this very village India. And so we were in this very authentic. We stayed then we went to this old, like in the movies, Shiva temple with the vines growing on it, that really ancient temple, and the monkeys running around, and the Ganges River is flowing just down below it, and we stayed there for a few days, just camping out in this temple, and trying to get in to see Baba, but we weren't able. So eventually, my husband and I just realized that we had to go back. I got very sick.
Food, water, things.
We used to have a saying that there were only two things lacking in the diet, vitamins and protein.
Yeah.
And
when you grow up that way, that's one thing. Well, when all
the bacteria and amoebas and stuff were all wrong for us. And nobody who stayed in India at that time over 6 months was healthy. And I was not healthy. And I weighed about 95 pounds.
Also on that note too, like you made yourself sick a few times, and the inner Baba told you have to take care of your body.
Right. So I got really sick. Before we left, I got really sick, and I ended up in the hospital with amoebius and kidney infection. And amoebius is when amoebic dysentery just goes into your liver and everything, out of swollen liver and everything. So, and I thought, and I reached out to Baba internally. He's always there, and he wasn't there. I was in this hospital. I thought I was going to die, and Baba wasn't there. And I'm going, oh my God, why isn't Baba here? I feel like I'm going to die.
It was before that he warned you a few times about taking care of yourself. So, that's the purpose to that, people.
So that was punishment.
That was a message. But it was no, if you continue down this road and kill your body, I'm really not
happy with that.
That makes sense.
So it was a message that guidance and love that I was getting. Really, I needed to learn to take care of this body and not meditate so much and go into such deep states that the body can maintain itself in the world. So then I ended up coming back to the U.S. Even the doctor said, you have to go back to the U.S. to get well. But it was really probably my meditation practice that was, I was so deep in meditation and meditating so much that I think I was not having a parallelism with my body. So I had to deal with that.
Mhm.
And I got guidance, that you need to form attachments and connections in order to ground into the world. And
Mhm.
so when I came back to the US, it was a difficult time because my mother died that year, and it was just difficult. And I missed Baba tremendously, to be in his physical presence, and then not to be, is like, when I was young, I just wanted to be in the physical presence of the spirit being that I felt that was so beautiful. And then I finally found that, and of someone who is of that holy, magical
Caliber.
yeah. And then I lost it, and it was a grieving process for me to be, even though I had the internal presence, the strength of that physical presence, I missed it. And but I realized I had to ground, I had to find attachments in the world. I had to find things that would bring my body back into being grounded in this world. And so that's when after that, I ended up getting married, having kids.
Right. Doing the normal thing, going to school.
PhD.
Right.
And
You are a psychologist.
being in the world.
Yeah. Yep. So do you still practice psychology today?
I do. I
Hmm.
see private clients. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not a lot. I have a small practice. I don't have
And
time.
how would people get a hold of you for that?
My practice is usually closed.
Okay.
I am open to mentor people for their spiritual journey or their spiritual practice.
Mhm.
My psychology practice is pretty closed most of the time. Every now and then I have an opening, but it's pretty rare.
Okay. So what is on your website, yogima.org?
Yogama.org. That really is my satsang. I have a Saturday morning satsang that I've just recently started. I have another one on Mondays, but that's a little bit closed, and for the group that's already there. And we have a meditation, but it's not online on Sunday nights. But I've started this online satsang, which is a Baba talk and a meditation and just time to connect. And that's on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock, once or twice a month. And I have one coming up this
Is
Saturday on
Would
the
that
9th.
be on that Baba Talks?
Yeah. So
Right.
I have that on the 9th this month.
Oh.
So people can connect with me through that, or they can connect if they sign up for my mailing list and write me a little note. I'll get the note, and I'm happy to respond and write back.
She's on all the social medias and everything too.
Yep.
Let me show you the rest of her books real quick here. So now that we're doing all this, that's on Amazon. So is there more than this?
There might be a few more, but this is a little deceptive because Yama, Niyama, Living Love, and Dharma, and my new book are really the focus ones. And the mysticism is a free giveaway on my website. People can get it. And these others are sort of booklets.
Okay.
One on Kundalini and subtle body, and the other on sort of basic booklet on Yama Niyama. And then the feminine mysticism book is good, but I think it needs editing.
Hey, everything for a reason. But yeah, what we're focusing on tonight is this one.
Yeah.
Into the Heart of the Infinite. This is her latest. This is her life. Her life is amazing. If you want a good read, you're going to be so enthralled with it. It's not a hard read. There are a few words if you need to look it up. There is a glossary in the back with the Sanskrit terms there. So it's worth the read. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did. Thank you. Yeah, I've gotten really positive feedback from people reading my book. So it's been
That's true.
it's
That
been
is
an honor, you know. And I wrote this book because I think that we all learn from story, and it's really by hearing other people's spiritual journey and story, it brings us into our own, and that may have
yeah,
been for
yeah, and
you.
you relate, and the comparisons and the
You know,
parallels, and
yeah,
even from different sides and areas and wherever you are located, that the same kind of things are happening.
exactly. This is the human condition, and we all suffer with, I also talk in there about my dark experiences and fear and doubt and lack of trust and all of those things, and how they worked in my life, how need my integration of that immense, beautiful, divine presence and being in the world and finding that holy presence in all that is part of the journey. And so I think, we all have our own journey, and sometimes
Yeah,
I'm a Western woman. I'm not some Indian swami, right? So
right,
it's maybe a
right,
little easier to relate to.
right. But
Just
now your fear and your doubt that you were talking about, I want to kind of go back onto that a little
Yeah.
bit.
yeah,
Okay. What you were doubting was your inner Baba was talking to you and telling you to do certain things. You are going to be my teacher. You are going to be my wife. You are going to bring forth my
yeah.
children as my seed children, right? All
Well,
these things, and you're like, oh my God, what is this now?
yeah, I kind of went into, oh, I think I'm going crazy.
Right?
This can't be real. I must be like, it was too much for me in India and I've had a mental breakdown or something. I was a psychologist. I worked in a developmental center. I had 2 young children. I had gone to India when my guru died, and all these experiences happened before going to India and in India, and all this mystical opening. And I went, oh, whoa, I don't see anything happening out there in the world. What is this Guru Shakti he's talking about, and this ability to bring through teachings? I don't see it. So it must not be happening. But he said it would take time to manifest. And but I'm not seeing it, and this all sounds weird to me. So I went into, no, I don't believe this. This isn't real. I'm going to reject all this. Except then I started having panic attacks, terrible panic attacks. It was awful, because of the inner conflict. I was denying my own spirit and my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pointing.
She does that. What?
What?
You do that.
Yes, I do. I mean,
But how many of us do that? How
Yeah.
many of us?
yeah. But I think one of the things, what I like about what you're saying right now, when you're telling us about those dark periods of your time, is that everybody has them. And yes, I have them. And where I doubt myself, and I don't have panic attacks. I do know people that have panic attacks, and I'm great at helping other people through their panic attacks. But everybody doubts themselves to a certain extent.
Right.
But the thing is, if we don't share that, then there's other people out there who think I'm the only one going through this. So there's people listening to this and they're thinking, I'm not alone in this. And
Right.
yes, people,
That's
Mama
right.
D has doubts. There we go. Hey.
Yeah, it's exactly
Well,
right. Because we feel alone. I mean, I felt like, oh, this weird thing happened to me, and you feel like you're all alone in this,
Yeah.
and I was rejecting it, and I was rejecting my journey of spirit. But I think what I was really dealing with was that I had kept my spiritual life very personal. Like I was willing to talk about my psychological problems to anybody, right?
Yeah.
I could be a very open person. And I'm sure my friends thought I was an open person, but I wasn't, because I would hide that spiritual, intuitive mystical side of myself from people. And then,
because there are a lot of people who don't understand that side of us.
yeah. And
I know that
I did
for me,
too for years.
you know,
Before I said, that's it. I'm getting into it, and I don't
yeah.
care what
And I
anybody
know for me, when I created the persona Mama D was because I wasn't ready for my family and my bosses to know who I was or what I was doing or what I was believing. So
Yeah.
that sort of I hid it that way. But now it's like y'all can,
yeah,
take a look at the moon for all I care, because I'm going to be out what I want to do. I will do what I want to do and say what I want to say. Are there people out there who kind of like, she's kind of special? Yes. Does it look like it bothers me? Oh,
Yeah. So that's, if you have non-ordinary states of consciousness and experiences,
mm-hmm.
they're non-ordinary. And so you feel like you don't fit in. You feel like you don't want to make waves. You don't want to,
Yeah.
you want to like be accepted and
Yep.
meet up to everybody's expectations and like qualify in the norm, and
Right.
so
we're not cookie cutters.
yeah, and I didn't want to be weird, so I rejected it all, and I rejected my inner guidance and rejected everything that had happened to me, all these spiritual experiences I'd had, and then that resulted in panic attacks because the conflict of two things was too strong. And then after a while, it took 2 or 3 months, and I finally went,
I like this. I like this statement.
Do that. What is this? A lack of understanding can bring suffering.
Will lead to judgment and prejudice. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Very true.
Yep.
So what I did is I accepted. I went, okay, maybe I'm crazy, but
it's good to be
let's
crazy.
see where this goes. That's what I would be like. Let's see where this goes.
I told other psychologists about my experience, and they believed it. I went to a psychiatrist about it. She believed it, and I'm still totally, my friends are believing it, but I'm like, no, this can't be real. Things like this don't happen to people like me. It must have been, somebody else. Or, I'm just a regular, ordinary person. And then I felt, but I just sort of accepted. Maybe I'm crazy, but I have to accept this. I have to be with this. And that was the turning point to opening up to it all. And
this is when he would start speaking through you.
And I began to, and before that, all the guidance I had gotten was just for me. It was teachings, so much teaching, so much love, so much kindness. But it was all.
Now it's time to
never asked me to do anything.
And give it to the world now.
Oh, now you have to do something. No, you know what?
Yeah.
And
don't be selfish now. Share.
Share means putting yourself out there.
It does.
It wasn't that I didn't want to do anything. It's that I was scared to be out there as a spiritual being. And so, but then what happened is over the next couple of years, slowly this teachings began to manifest. And it's a kind of coming from Baba, from that intuitive spiritual consciousness. It doesn't come from my rational mind. It's not like I think about what I'm going to say and I do it. It's just, it flows through.
Yep.
When I do the Baba talks, it's just a flow of energy. And the words are just manifesting the energy. And so that began to happen. And out of it, as you read in the book, a lot of amazing things happened. Years of teaching and retreats and trainings that were pretty amazing and special experiences. And I watched, honestly, some amazing, miraculous things happen. And I didn't have anything to do. They were just happening, They were happening because this divine presence, divine energy, it was
too much for you to contain. You just had to let it come out. And it just wants to, it needs to be out. This is what we need to hear.
Yeah.
So for many, many years of my spiritual path. It was a Kundalini Shakti rising up, right? It's the raising of the Kundalini and going into higher states of consciousness, into samadhi, into these bliss states of rapture. And then it began to be with this presence, like a hole in the clouds in the sky, through which the rays of the sun come down, and shine on you and just sort of move through you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very different energy. It's like a descending energy that descends into the earth plane.
Yeah.
And
did you notice that I put the rays behind him?
Yeah.
Because that's the way I see it.
Yeah. And so it's been very, that was really deep spiritual opening for me, but it took a tremendous amount of surrender to let go and to just go, okay, whatever happens, happens. And every time I give one of these Baba talks, it's like, okay, I have no idea what will be said or what will happen. It's just, I just let go and melt back into it, and then it flows through, I don't even always remember it all. I just remember.
And then you were pushed one more time too. Because now you're doing this, now you're getting more comfortable, and the words are coming, and you're letting it come, and you're letting it flow. And then you were asked to, let's go on a walk.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was training. That was really stressful. Yeah. So I would sit and I would go into these states, and this energy would flow through. These talks would come, and these teachings. And I was in a training people to be meditation teachers, and I was giving the talks and guiding people. And then people wanted, my physical guru used to go for walks called field walk with people and walk and talk. And often he'd give detailed information about the land or some sort of abstract knowledge about very detailed things like certain plants, or, he just had to know all these things. He had he could just download the Akashic record, right?
Wow.
And so they wanted to have this field walk because they were all devotees of my physical guru, and they were feeling that physical guru's presence in my subtle guru, and they wanted this field walk. So, and my inner Baba said, okay, and I'm going, how am I supposed to do that? I'm supposed to like walk and bring this energy, these teachings through, and this energy through while I'm walking. I have to like externalize my mind and look what I'm doing. Walking.
Right.
But it worked out, and I was able to, I don't know what happened, and I don't know how it happened, and then suddenly they were saying that I was walking so fast that they all had to run to catch up with me. And I, I don't know how that happened. I didn't, I wasn't aware of that even, and, but that was my physical guru would do that. He would walk quickly. And then it just flowed.
Do you watch yourself back after you do these talks so that?
Do I what?
Do you watch yourself after the talks? Like,
well,
as he's speaking through you and you're getting all this information downloaded, and if you're recording it, like during the Baba talk?
Sometimes I listen to the recordings. Yeah, a lot of times they're just recordings. Sometimes they're visual. Whenever we can, we do the visual, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. And I do listen sometimes, but not too often.
Is there a reason why you don't listen to yourself?
I'd rather listen to Baba.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. Like, he'll tell you how you did.
I'd rather just feel the divine presence,
Okay. But if you don't, here's my question. If you don't remember everything that's going on while you're in connection with Baba, is there certain things that you think, I want to go back because you got a glimpse of something that you want to learn more about what you said? Would that be an option for you to go back and listen, or you
I
just take for?
I know. I think I do remember most of it, and
Okay.
I have
Are you consciously aware?
yeah, and I feel like I've had a lot of teaching, and I don't need teachings.
Okay.
I
Okay.
I want to just live in divine presence, and yeah, I do sometimes go back and listen, but it's more that I want to be in my own
Yeah. Makes sense.
and meditation. Um, and I feel that all the knowledge is there. It feels like it's there, you know. Um, and I'm not seeking knowledge for myself. I'm seeking connectedness with the universe.
I don't know if you can hear that. There's some kind of motorcycles or something going on outside.
No.
Sorry.
I
No,
don't
we're
know.
here. No sounds.
It's here. But you talk about unitive consciousness. What is unitive consciousness?
I think there's layers to our minds, and we have different layers that we operate on. And there's this physical layer where we're very physical and we have our five senses. And, you know, this desk seems very solid, right? It's a desk. And then we have a mental world in which we have our dreams, in which we have our minds, and then we have a sort of intuitive world where we connect, we get information, we feel things, we have intuitive connection. But underneath it all underneath the sense of I and mine and my individual identity is deeper self, which is not an individual identity, but which is a wholeness of being, as if the whole universe is encapsulated in one consciousness, in one being, in one self, in the God self, you know. And it's this God consciousness, or Brahma, you say in Sanskrit, is composed of consciousness, Shiva, Shakti, Atmakam, Brahma. Shiva, consciousness, and Shakti, the divine mother, creation, creative principle, together form the all of creation and that which is beyond creation, right? So it's all held within the body of consciousness, within the infinite. And you know, I think that quantum physics starts to verify this, right? You know, the desk is made of molecules, which is made of atoms, which are made of subatomic particles, which are actually made of waves. And the waves are made of consciousness, beingness. And so what is the real difference between me and the desk? What is the real difference between you and me? You know, it is consciousness, and it embodies in all the colors of creation, all the uniqueness of our forms. But are we just these unique forms? I think we are really that underlying wholeness, that unitive consciousness that is the one, the God self, the infinite that encompasses everything. Is
that like what we're trying to get to when we put ourselves in our meditative states? Is that where we're trying to go?
Yeah, to that wholeness, that oneness, that beautiful, beautiful light of being. You know, the human condition is one, you know, we have a lot of suffering in life. We're always trying to win the game. We're always trying to acquire all the things that are going to make us healthy and safe and you know, popular and rich, whatever it is that we think is to be had. We're always trying to acquire it. And we're always pushing away all those bad experiences, illness, suffering, you know, losses of loved ones. Oh my goodness, there's so many terrible things that can happen in life. But then ultimately we grow old, we get sick, and we die. So it's not a game that we win.
Right.
You know, but we're trying really hard to win it. And this becomes the human condition of suffering. And what all that is based on is an identity with the body-mind structure, an identity that says, I am a separate, limited being that doesn't have a base that I can rely on, that is beyond this physical body, you know, that it's a condition of suffering because we feel small. We were just this little person in a big universe. And it requires us to struggle to win something that we ultimately can't win because our bodies die. And so we have a lot of fear and we have a lot of need and grasping. And that unitive consciousness that is the true self of ourself is whole. It's never it never changes. It always is. It always has been. It always will be. And in it, we are whole. We are not limited beings. And these identities of limitation become boxes in which we define ourselves and confine ourselves so that we don't feel our vastness, our real ground of being. And, you know, even the psychology of our culture, for 400 years, science has been material world is the basis of reality. It's the basis of the universe. Now with quantum physics, they're going, they had it backwards. Consciousness is the basis of the universe, and the material reality evolves within that. And so, which the yogis have been saying for thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
And so
it's a man thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's men said we needed this, men said we needed buildings, you know, human species, right? Yes, we need to evolve, we need to, you know, get on and on and on. I mean, I get it. Yes, we do. I like the luxuries. I love having this. I love being able to talk to you and being able to have, you know, Mama D here too, and all the people watching and people asking questions from all over the place. You know, I love this part of everything.
Yes.
There are things I could do without. Politics, money, this, that, and the other things. You know, I don't hate.
But you know, I don't think that there's some schools of yoga that are very aesthetic that, you know, you detach from everything. But if you detach, you just become dry. You know, it's more to deepen in your love. And that's the path of Tantra, is to really deepen your love, to transmute love to be so great that it transcends boundaries.
Mm.
So it's not to love less, it's to love more. You know, to give your heart to things and to really be able to see the true and deep nature that's eternal in everything that is, and feel that connection that's eternal. And that comes through deep love, not through shutting down the heart.
Yeah, right. Because now we have a bunch of questions for you too here. One of the questions is are depression, anxiety, and emotional pain a part of the spiritual path, and how do we work with them? So that's like the opposite of this. But I believe that the yin and the yang, you know what I mean? You don't know what the good is without that bad.
Yeah.
You know? So you have to have these things, and that's I think our human path.
Exactly. Shadow and light, right?
Yep.
How can you know the light if there's no shadow?
Exactly.
So they kind of go together. They're the two sides of the whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that was put in there. I really appreciate that. and then there's this one too. Okay, what was it like to be asked to bring your inner mystical world out and to make it public, and to be asked by your inner guide to teach? Now, when that happened, right, and you were again thinking yourself crazy, what was the response that you were getting from the people that you were talking to? Were they just like floored and just, oh my God, this was
Read my experience, as I said, so then I went to a psychologist who worked at the developmental center with me, and I said, I got to talk about this. I went to India. I had this experience. I'm freaking out, and they supported and validified my experience. It's really interesting. My friends did.
I think we are our own worst critic. We are the ones who hold ourselves down. We think, oh, well, I can't do this because of that, because of this. Yeah, we have to get to the point where, hey, Keith, where we stop worrying about other people's feelings and thoughts about us, because that's their issue. It's not ours. And it's not easy. I do agree. Things that who we are now, who I am now, I'm going to speak for me, who I am now is not the person I used to be. Yeah. And for the person I used to be, the people who know me now would be like, excuse me, that's, no, can't be that. But we have to be able to be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
And it's difficult to be honest with yourself. It's easy for me. It's easy to be honest with other people and, to discuss things. But to be honest with myself, that's the hardest thing I can.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that kind of authenticity, that's satya. That's part of the yamas and the niyamas, which are this other book, one of my other more recent books. And this is talking about the yogic path to self connection and that alignment. But it's that authenticity that you're talking about that allows you, when you really have self-honesty, to be in alignment with the universe and to live your life in alignment. When you can really live with authenticity, when you can really follow what's called ahimsa, non-injury, right? When you live in an attitude to do the least harm to living beings that you possibly can.
Yeah.
When your intention is to do no harm, when your intention is to be in loving kindness, and your intention is to be deeply authentic and deeply honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Those practices, there's 10 of these practices. And as you get into these practices, they begin to form your thoughts and your behavior, and you begin to form a life that is led more in alignment. And the more alignment you have, the easier it is to go into deep mystical states. The easier it is to feel that connectedness to the divine. That's like the rough edges fall away because you're more in alignment with the divine qualities and the divine characteristics. And so even stealing is one of the things, to avoid stealing. Well, okay, I don't steal, I'm not a thief, right? But really, do I ever want to be like somebody else?
Yeah.
Do I ever want to, do I express that kind of discontent with who I am? And try to be jealous of how somebody else is, or there's lots of different ways to steal.
Yeah,
exactly. It's always greener.
A lot subtler than being a car thief, right?
I don't know how to drive. I just drive people crazy. That's it. I'm good with that. Yeah. Okay. I know we're supposed to be focusing on Into the Heart of the Infinite, but could you hold that book up again, because something tells me I'm going to need that one.
Yeah. This is my other book that this book has won 4 awards.
Awesome.
it's The Living Love, the Yoga of Yama Niyama. This is a book I did prior to doing this one. I did a few years ago.
Okay.
And Yama Niyama are of the Eightfold Path of Yoga. They're the ethical principles of yoga, but they're also, and the way I approach them in this is I feel that they're behavioral
Okay.
tenets from the Yoga Sutras, from Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras. They're behavioral tenets on how to work with yourself in the world. You know, the yoga, we have the yoga postures and the breathing exercises and the meditation. But in order to perfect all of that, you really got to deal with your basic
Yeah, the foundation.
alignment. If you're out of alignment, if your behavior and your thoughts and your words are out of alignment,
Mhm.
it's going to be hard to do meditation, frankly. It's going to be hard to.
Yeah. I think that's what my issue is, because I haven't been able to do a proper meditation in a long time.
You gotta
So
get
for
it
me,
out of
that's,
here.
yeah,
and
I know I
find
got to get out of here and focus on the moment, but it's there's so much going on that I need to, like I said, I got to ground, I got to get into my alignment to get back, because I used to do meditations and I was good at it. Now the only time I meditate is when I'm doing the dishes, and that's because my mind just kind of goes everywhere else, and I'm focusing on the water and whatever I can.
And
Whatever.
that can happen as our lives get really busy. This book might be really helpful to you, actually.
Yeah,
I think it could be. It really talks about those alignments, about human behavior, about forgiveness, loving kindness,
Okay.
and
Yes. Okay, I
Yeah.
love when Gina points at me. It's like, okay, I'm in trouble now. But yeah.
yourself.
Mhm.
Yep, I do. I do know. I know my mama. I
She
know
knows me well. It's a scary thing, but she knows me well.
I love her dearly.
That's a beautiful thing, actually.
Yeah,
Considering we've never actually met physically,
I know.
we just sort of connected over shows, and it's just like she's my other half. When
Wow.
for a while, we took time off because for many reasons, but we took time off. We didn't have these shows, and I was lost.
It
Not
was
just
tough.
not being able to do the shows. It was like, I don't get to have a conversation with her, because we have conversations before the show starts. So it's like
Yeah.
that friction, that little that loss of connection.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. It is. So she helps me a lot more than I think I help her, but I do my best. She's my grounding force. I'll be like, when something happens,
She'd be like, I want to cut my hair, and I'll be like, no.
yeah. I know. I was like, I'm sorry, I cut my hair again today. I'm trying to let my hair grow, right? But I had to cut it again today because I messed it up before, and it was like all uneven. And I finally got to a point where I could even it out. So I'm like, so we're talking, and I said, yeah, and I cut my hair today, and then I kept going.
She said it so quickly, like she thought I would be like missing it. It's like, not, girl, I caught that one.
Yeah, little things like that. It just lifts the spirit.
Yeah.
I think everybody needs a Mama D in their life, a friend, a good friend, that they can talk to. And I think that living the life that you have and doing the things that you've done, you've made great connections all over the place. I mean, just like so profound.
Thank you. I feel it's the grace of the infinite, and that's to be connected to that inner source has been the passion of my life. And so it's but I feel that passion lies within each of us.
Yes.
It may be more active in some people, more dormant in others, but it lays within us, and actually it drives us to do all the different things we do, because we're always trying to seek happiness, always trying to seek deep happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of our being, like how can my being be truly fulfilled? And so we try all kinds of things, and that restlessness keeps coming back.
Yep.
Okay, let me try this. Let me try that.
Right. And then all the rich people are like, there's always so much turmoil in these rich people's lives, because what are they doing? They fight to get the money. They get the money, then they got to fight to keep the money. And then it's, it's a constant battle with
Yeah,
people purchasing
yeah.
things in
Yeah.
fears.
Money is one of those things that, oh, if I only have enough money, then I'll be happy. But how many people have plenty of money and are not happy?
Not happy.
Yeah.
And not happy at all. Yeah.
So it's, but so finding that unitive consciousness that is like a base that for all of us, of our real nature, and then feeling it around you. When you feel it in every plant, every living being, every blade of grass, everyone that is and everyone, then you feel like
Okay, read.
this vibrant world, right? This vibrant world where the God essence is all around you. There is this beautiful love, this beautiful consciousness everywhere. And then what is mundane becomes sublime. So part of it is not, it's not, the plants are alive. They're living beings. They have vibrant life in them. But a lot of times, how much do we go for a walk or around the trees and stuff? And they're just like, that's a tree, I mean, we
I have
just
a connection to my neighbor's tree in front of their house. I wish their tree was in front of my house. I don't know what it is with this tree. I just love that tree. And every time I go out and I'm walking the dog or whatnot, I have to touch that tree.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, you got the energy connection to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
My trees in this yard, this house that I bought, I had to knock them down. They were all dead. They were going to fall on my house. They were massive trees. Oh my God. And rotted. And oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. What a shame. But they must have been gorgeous in their day, and the energy that they put up. It was that led me to this house. It kind of looked like my secret garden in the back of this house.
Wow.
The back of my house is the front of my house. That's how old my house is. The street behind me that all the rest of the houses are built on wasn't even, there when this house was built. The front of the house goes, way down to the avenue, which is, quite a distance. So this was all this property was this house. And it had to be like off the charts gorgeous and just so,
That sounds beautiful.
But I loved this house the minute I saw it. It went pending on me a whole bunch of times. And then at the end, I just said, look, I don't know what's going on with this because it went, fell through. And then someone was trying to buy it and they were having problems. And I said, what is their issue? I said, just tell them I'll give them cash. I'll give them more than what they're asking. I just want this house. I don't know what it is, and then it was poof, done,
House.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I wanted this house, and that was it.
The house, she fits into that house perfectly.
Yeah. But I did love all the trees and stuff out here, but I didn't realize how rough shape they were in,
Yeah, and that's dangerous.
It is very dangerous. So I had to take them down. But, I do have a connection with my neighbor's tree. I'm like, I want to replant that tree over here. I do. It's just there's something about it. The bark is beautiful. It looks like a bunch of diamonds going up.
Maybe you have like a spirit connection to that tree, I mean, that tree is kind of your friend in a way, huh?
Definitely.
And we can make friends that aren't people.
Well, yeah. There's no doubt in my mind about that. That this universe, it never ceases to amaze me. And like what you were saying, like as in connecting and whatnot, whatever you do in connecting, I connect every time I read books.
Yep.
When I'm learning and I'm on this journey with you, and I'm learning, and that is how I connect. And I have lots of books, and I read them every week for the show. Sometimes I connect with them and sometimes I don't, but this was amazing, an amazing journey.
Yeah. She becomes part of the story.
I do. And then I'll be like,
living your story through your eyes, through your words.
Did you move through the story as the book went on? Did you move through the energy as it shifted?
Yep. Yeah, because I'm right there with you. I was right there with you in the streets of India. You know what I mean? I was just like, wow, the burning of the bodies.
Oh yeah, the burning ghats in Varanasi.
that would have been intense, you know? And it's just like, yeah, I put myself there like a movie, like I'm watching a movie in my head, but I'm there with you.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that was intense, actually. That's an amazing place, you know? You
Mhm.
probably got a little bit of the feeling of the narrow streets and
Yeah, you're very
it's
descriptive.
old, very old.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But you're fortunate to have done that, to have lived that, so that, so that we can experience that, because that's gone now. You know what I mean? Like that period is done. Your
Mhm.
journey is done. Our journeys are beginning, but our journeys need to begin by realizing, again, like you're not alone, those types of things, all those things. And that's around the world, that's worldwide.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate it, you know?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really, we all have our special journeys though, and people travel so much now, going all different places and we also travel like this, I in our satsangs, there are people in Europe, there are people in Canada, there are people, all over the United States. So it kind of it's interesting. We're all over, and I bet your viewers are all over too.
It- yeah. Oh yeah. All definitely over. Keith's down in Texas. Anthony's in Jersey, you know. John, I think, is in Pennsylvania. I don't even know where all these people are from. But you never know. You never know. We have some Australia people and
Mhm.
New Zealand people, and
We have a couple guys from Pakistan.
yeah,
Wow.
all over the place. So yeah,
Wonderful.
it
Yeah,
really it
it's
is.
it's amazing. The world is kind of becoming smaller through these networking like
Yeah.
this. And we're getting exposure to each other in all our different cultures and our different rich backgrounds. And so
And
I
I think that's the way that we learn from each other. So it's like you can't sit there and go, I don't know anybody and I don't want to know anybody. If you're on the internet, if you're on Facebook and other social medias, you get to learn different people and different things. And so long as your mind is open to learning, then
yes.
the amazing things that we can learn, it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone makes things a competition. I know, because I'm in the paranormal field too. And it gets to be a big drama fest and everybody wants to be on top. And it's like, that's fine. You want to climb that ladder, you want to be up top, good. More power to you. I have
Yeah.
no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's if you leave bodies in your wake, I have a problem with. You know what I mean? It's how you get there. How
Right.
you
It's
do
it,
that.
it's the intention of doing no harm rather than
Right.
Yeah.
stepping over other people.
Yeah.
Using people, stepping over people, discarding them once you get what you want. That I have a problem with.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And those people will be there as you're rising and stepping on these people, whether it's the paranormal field, whether it's whichever field you're in, whichever thing you do in life. As you step on people to get yourself higher, they're still going to be there when you're falling back down. And majority of those people, not all, but a majority of these people will be like, okay, you got there, you're coming back down. We won't hold it against you, and we'll help. We'll get you back to where you need to be. Maybe not at the top, because that's not where everybody needs to be. We need to be. Sorry, there's a giant brown thing coming.
Ah,
Get down, you silly weirdo. There will people that will be holding it against you. It's like, oh my God, Gina's got a radio show and a TV show, and like, yeah, but Gina has everybody on the show. Even if she doesn't like you, if you want to be on the show, we'll put you on the show. We've had people on the show that we don't like, and especially when we find out what they're about on the show. But we're professional and we let them talk. Even if we don't agree with everything that our guests say, we still give them that platform to share.
It's information. It's brought forward, and we always say too, if we help one person, our job is done.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And bringing you forward. And I'm going to put up your books again up here too. because you've done, you look how peaceful you look in that picture. I love that picture of you.
Oh,
So that was the book, Living Love, the Yogi Yama and Nayama.
yeah, yeah. And those are the practices, the ethical practices for living in the world.
That's the Into the Heart of the Infinite in the lower corner. That's what we're talking about mostly tonight. Feminine mysticism, living love. There's some pamphlets and there's some books here, but check her sites out. Now she's on everything too, right? So you're on Facebook and YouTube, and I gotta hang this up. All the social medias, right? So
That's right. And I have at babatalks.info and on YouTube, I have the Baba Talks, the intuitive talks that I get.
Yeah, I put the links in. I put the links in the chat room for your YouTube channel and your website.
Yeah. And there are talks on my website, so people can. There's lots of stuff on my website. So,
please go to the website and check her out. But if you really want a good read and to really just go on this journey, that's like an epic journey. This is the one. You know, just you get to know who she is and how she led her life from childhood to now. You know, I mean, this is up to now. You know, now are you teaching your children this is the way of their life?
My children are grown. They're grown men, and they grew up in that milieu of all those trainings and everything that was going on. So they've had a lot of experience with it. And the yoga is a deep part of their lives. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Are they married? Do they have children of their own? Are you a grandma yet?
Well, one is married and we have a grandchild. The other is not married, lives in San Francisco, but is in a deep relationship.
Oh, good.
But so, and we see them regularly, and it's very wonderful. So spiritual love is something we bring into our daily lives, in the people we love and the animals we love and that are part of our lives, and the trees and the nature, and all the connectedness we have. There's lots of different ways we connect. And meditation, I think, is a practice to help us deepen in that connection, to help us just take some space to support our internal connection and to support those special moments that we experience. But the ability to know the infinite, to have those mystical moments in your life, I think that's something that comes at one moment or another in everybody's lives. There are those special moments, however they come for you. And when you meditate, you just cultivate your ability to sustain those connections and to feel that connectedness that we have. That when you go with your dog, you're connected to your dog, you're connected to the trees, you're connected to the beauty of the place around you. You feel it, and that's the beauty of living life, right? That makes you alive in life.
Yep. Those are the moments. Yeah. Those are the moments. But can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Thanks. When you do your Baba Talks, do you have to prepare beforehand? Can you just ask a question? Like, could you give us a message now? I mean, is that a thing that you can just do?
If it's there. If it's not, I can't. Okay. But no, there's no preparation. I just think of the infinite.
Okay. Because there are people who go into a meditation beforehand, who do rituals beforehand, whether you call them rituals or not, who do things beforehand that allow them to connect with.
When I do the satsang, I try to have like everybody do 10 minutes of meditation and then have the talk, because not only for me to drop in, but for everybody else to drop in. So the
Yeah,
energy is a receptive energy, you
that
know,
makes sense. Yeah.
that if there's going to be a deeper, higher frequency come in, then there has to be something that draws it in.
Yeah.
It has to be something that the more devotion, the more heart energy there is, the more love for the infinite, the more connectedness there is, the more it brings the energy in. You know, it's not like I'm doing it. It's
Yeah.
and it
Right.
has
It's
more
a group effort.
with the people who are there
Mhm.
that it brings what's needed for the people who are there.
That makes sense. Yeah, it does. Because if you're not connected with the people around you for that connection with your higher power, with your Baba,
Yeah.
he's not going to come in if everybody else around you is like, I don't think so today, not really. You know, it's not just you, it's everybody around you, everything around you. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, when minds are open and receptive and in a space to connect with that unitive consciousness, then more of that energy that moves in that direction will be there, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
kind of it goes
What does it feel like to you when that happens? Like,
sometimes
are you vibrating? Are you just?
sometimes I feel very little. So at first I feel the first half a sentence I feel nervous, like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm saying even, you know, and I have no idea what I'm going to be saying. I've started some words and then I get in the flow and then it's flowing. And then I feel like I'm just in the flow of this flow that's happening. And then there can be a very if the energy is received and vibrates back, this powerful, blissful, deep energy is there. And everybody's in it, you know, it's a kind of flow.
Yeah.
And I feel white lighted, I feel blissful energy. But it's not always like that. Sometimes
No.
it's like that. Sometimes it's not. You know, it depends on how much the whole situation drops in frequency or not.
That makes sense.
You know what's amazing to me? I'm just like shiny ball moment here. Like when I first looked at the book and I thought it was going to be something other than what it is. Right?
Really, what did you think it would be?
I just thought it was going to be more like I have a couple books that I could bring out that I'm reading and reading and reading, and it's just almost all Sanskrit or whatever, and I have to look up every single word. By the time I get through it, I'm like losing the meaning of it, you know, because I keep stopping and looking up words, you know, and it's like a tale, not a story, not a life, not personal, not, you know, this is you, you know, and it's
that's right.
This is crystally clear. It's really you, and you can really get into it in the pictures and everything else that you have in there at the right spots, you know. So, you know, I'm really gaining a lot. So I was very, you know, impressed with that. But now talking to you, I wasn't sure how it was going to be talking to you, you know, and I am so again, like, so extremely grateful to be meeting you. Like, I just feel like I'm so relaxed. You have this air, this presence that's just so relaxing and so calming and just so, you know, I really I can feel it, you know. Can you feel it, Mama?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
Eastern Pearl is calling me. I don't know what Eastern Pearl is. And it's like
Eastern Pearl?
Yeah, it's calling me twice. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, online?
On my phone.
Huh.
Eastern Pearl. twice.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, your energy is like we're always pumped before a show. But and we always get, and here's the thing, we always get nervous when the guest comes in very close to the minute. But when you came in, it was like it was just like that moment of okay, everything's good. Not because we were comfortable with you being here on everything was working. It's just the energy that you came in with was calming.
Ah, thank you.
So it was very nice.
Thank
It's a takeout place.
Well, I was excited to be with you guys,
I don't
meet
know.
you, and
Yeah.
connect with
I
you.
want to read your other books for sure. Mama Needs, that one that you were holding up.
Yeah, I suggest that one. That might be meaningful for you at this.
Yeah.
What you're working with.
Yeah, because I like I said, I used
Hopefully
to
it can ship
be
to Canada.
yeah. I used to be very spiritual is the word, but it's not. I used to be more open about what I did and what I do. And I used to have conversations on Facebook and I would talk. And sometimes I would feel like I'm babbling, but it wasn't, as like you said, it wasn't me, but I knew that what I was saying was right. It's like when I do, I'm a Reiki master. So when I do a healing, the before and the after are nothing like what I'm doing when I'm doing. When I'm doing it, I know that I'm spot on with everything I do.
You
Readings, I'm
feel
spot.
energy. Yeah.
It's the before and after, and I was like, I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, if my Reiki
those
masters are watching this right now, they're probably going, darling.
Yeah. The prep work for stuff, like that. I prep a lot for these shows, like I get these pictures and I do the videos and I do
I
all
know,
this.
I'm really impressed. It's like there was all these visuals and I'm going, wow. Nice.
Well, I want to bring the people into the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And into knowing what's going on here and to see all the books that are available and to, get that little glimpse into your world, and hopefully they want to come and be a part of that world. They want to learn a little bit more about the world. There you go. All right. But go to her sites and check her out and learn more about her because look
exactly.
how
because what you learn about her is exactly who she is. There's no airs. There's no highfalutin hoity-toity. You are who your book is. From everything that Gina's told me about the book, you're like down to earth, even for all the traveling that you've done, the people that you met. You're not dropping names like most people be like, I know Elvis Presley. It's like you're not doing that. I had to pick that name. I don't know why. But, you're not dropping names for the sake of dropping names. You use the names because those are the people that you met. They had a great influence on who you are and what you learned and what you share. So it's just inviting us in to you and to your knowledge. So I like that about you. And like I said, for the little bit that Gina's told me about the book is, like I said, for me, retail therapy is in my future.
Yep. And then it's like, seriously, I will, this is like the book that you can kind of open up to just here and there too, and just to refresh and you'll get a different kind of meaning that will pertain to you and not just you, because like I said, I was on this journey with you, but it does make my mind wander. Like sometimes I have to stop reading and be like, okay, now I'm really going to put myself into this place. And then where am I going from here? I was trying to be in the ashram with you. I was trying to be over there with the women. I'm like, I am not. You don't put me in the corner.
No.
My rights away as a woman. Don't tell me to shut up.
I fought it. But it was a culture of a time. It was of India.
I know, but we're Westerners, so But you did stand up. You did stay there. At the funeral, the show.
I got inner guidance to stand up.
Exactly.
But it was scary,
Of course, I know. And you held your ground, and oh my God, did I love that. When you were there viewing the body and you held your ground and, they're like trying to make you get out and it's like, no, and I love that. I absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially considering it was back in the 70s.
Yeah. The India I saw is not, you can't go to India now and find that India. You
No,
know,
it's gone.
everybody has a cell phone and a television, and
Right.
you know, it was before all of that technology hit India, before India was westernized. It was in a time when it was just the last part of that, I think, you know, the last.
Yeah. And you have a canopy of wires over every street.
Yeah. And, you know, it was, I think I really got a taste of authentic India.
Definitely.
And it had been for thousands of years. Sometimes I was in places and I just felt, look, this could have happened 5,000 years ago, you know.
Yes.
The only thing weird is me being here.
Yeah.
No, because the thing is, you were meant to be there so you could bring
Yes.
that back and teach the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, of all the places you've traveled, is there somewhere that you still would like to travel to?
Oh, I think if I would like to travel anywhere, it would be to Ireland.
Oh, nice. Very good choice.
Because my roots, you know, and of my family, and it would be kind of nice to go there.
Oh. Well, I hope you make it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not much of a traveler these days. We'll see.
Well, by the Powerball, you never know.
You never know. You know, I mean, seriously, you never know. All right, well, we have just a couple minutes left. So is there something that you want to leave our people with, some kind of...
Some pearl of wisdom. There we go.
Yeah.
Eastern pearl of wisdom.
I think if I want to say anything to people, it's that never sell yourself short or feel that you're less. That unitive consciousness, that wholeness of being, that pure light of the divine self is your own essence. And believe in yourself, believe in the light within you, and let yourself connect with it and bring it forward inside of you, into you, into your life, into your personality. Don't sell yourself short. Think, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I'm not special, you know.
Because you are.
Love yourself deeply, and find that light, that beautiful, believe in the light, which is your spirit, and that's who you are.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you for being with us. I would love to have you back. I really, really would. Hang with us for a minute. I'm going to play our exit video. So if you wouldn't mind, just hang with us for a little bit after the show. Everybody, next week, Mama D and me and Mary Jane will pull some cards for you on Thursday. All right. So get your questions ready and wait for that. Ciao for now. Love you all. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Maetreyii.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as our Anchor audio venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.